Interviews with top newsmakers, leaders, and interesting people. This is Talk of the Tiers.
Welcome to Talk of the Tiers. I'm Nick Barberry, and thank you for joining us today. Joining us now are husband and wife duo, and also authors of a series of books in the fantasy genre, and including their latest one, and that's The Winter's Son. And it is Megan J. Parker.
Yes.
Yes, and Nathan Squires. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, yes. So I'll get right into it. Where are you originally from?
So I'm right 2 hours away, Rochester, New York. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Very familiar with that area.
I'm a bit further out, Massachusetts, born and raised, but moved here when I was 13.
Okay.
And his family's lived here forever in Horseheads, New York. So,
Okay, Horseheads. Very familiar with Horseheads.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you guys live in Horseheads now?
We live in Elmira now.
Okay, nice. I'm from Elmira as well, so that's good. Yes, yes. And so you, how long have you been in Elmira for?
About 3 or 4 years now.
3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
Moved down from Rochester, actually right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah,
so
pretty much,
closer to 2019.
Oh, okay. You enjoying it?
We are, yeah. I love the area. You know, the library's great. There's a lot of different cool places.
I mean, yeah, I was from Massachusetts, but my grandparents were here, so I was here almost every summer growing up.
Okay. Do you find it a good place to write?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we mostly write at home, so we can really write anywhere,
Yeah.
but it is nice.
But yeah, I mean, it nurtures the creativity.
Yeah. We had some famous writers from this area.
I would
Mark
say
Twain.
so, yeah.
Mark Twain. Yeah. So like, it's a good place to write. That's what that's what I've heard. Yes, yes. And how did you start with you first? How did you start in your writing career?
So I've written since I was like a little girl, but really when I started I mean, I had a ton of chapter ones to start, and then I met Nathan, and he was already writing, and he'd almost finished his first book, and he got in with a publisher, and after that he's like, you need to write, you need to finish one of your projects. And so he finally pushed me to write my first novel, which was Scarlet Night, which is a paranormal romance, so.
Oh, okay. Very nice, nice. Yes, yes. And you as well, that's how...
Yeah.
So you were the first one to...
I mean, I've always considered myself a storyteller, and but when I was in my teenage years, as a lot of us do when we're teenagers, I was having a troubling time, and I began what I've since called a creative suicide letter, and that became the foundation for my first novel. And shortly thereafter, I went to therapy, met Megan, and she actually helped me to co-develop the mythology for that first book, to polish it off and actually turn it into what it became. And because of her help, I told her, you own half of this mythology. It's yours now. Go forth and write your own books in this mythology. And that's actually what got us started.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. That's great. That's turning like a negative into something
exactly.
very positive.
It's writing that book saved my life, and meeting Megan definitely helped cement that process.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. Something like that, like creativity can actually like help.
Absolutely, and form a bond like this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So like, so were you writing together before you were a couple, or?
We didn't even know each other in the first place.
No,
we met. I was just beginning to graduate from high school. She was still, I think, in her second or third year of high school, and we met through counseling. It was sort of
it was like a hospital program for like, you know, we both had kind of anxiety
for
and
depression and anxiety, and we met through that and began dating, and through that found that we shared interests as far as creativity, storytelling. And I told her about the project I had been working on, and she was like, oh, you should consider elements of this, or have you read this book, or heard of this creature from mythology? And we began researching together, and again, like, the book was mostly written, but I have to say that it was very raw and very hollow, considering how much more mythology we were able to fill together with it. And it was, I mean, she said, no, this is still your book, it's still your story, I'm not putting my name on it. But by that point, she had created half of the creatures that existed in that mythology. It's like, I can't claim ownership of this anymore. It is ours. We are now writers here. You have to go forth and write your own books in this. And it just coalesced and evolved into what it is now.
I actually think one of our first co-written pieces, like that we actually planned to have, cohesively co-written together, was actually The Winter's Son, the one that you read. Yeah. So before that, we'd put our names on more as like an editor, like edited by, or you know, so even in like one of my Scarlet Knight books, because it's a trilogy, the third one has a lot more Nathan's presence in it than even the others. So, but he was still kind of more of like an editor for those, whereas like Winter Sun was really co-authored by both of us. So.
Okay, I see. Yes, and Winter Sun is a very I'm not as familiar with the fantasy genre, but this was very impressive. Also, the creating of the mythology and everything was like, I could tell that was pretty impressive.
We had a lot of fun with that.
It was definitely different for us because we had, before that, really only written urban fantasy, more like modern, you know,
much
in
darker.
cities. And that was a complete different genre where it's like we have to create the world, you know, everything really was completely.
Yeah, that intrigued me about it because it's a whole new universe. Like you have to create your own logic and like, oh, this character can do this, but this character can do that, and that conflicts, like, you know, so. Yeah,
we had like outline after outline with like different types of maps and stuff that, you know, at some point I plan to actually include a map in the book. I haven't yet, so I think that's something that we plan to do.
She's also a designer, so she's always thinking about visual elements.
Yes.
I'm actually the cover designer of that as well.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yes, you do it all. Yeah. Yes, okay. All right. So we're going to be right back. Well, stay tuned for Talk of the Tears, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Talk of the Tears. I'm Nick Barber, and joining us today are authors Megan J. Parker and Nathan Squires, and they're the author of a series of books, including The Winter Sun. And like today, what I'd like to talk to you now about is your influences on making this. And like I was saying before, like this is a new genre for me, but I was really captivated by the whole world created in Winter Sun. First of all, there was a quote at the beginning of the book from Tolkien.
Yeah.
Was in it, and I can definitely see the influence in there.
Yes.
What would you say are your other influences in just writing and storytelling?
Movies, actually. A lot of times, like, I know you even mentioned when we talked yesterday about the cinematic elements, and it's true, like, Nathan and I are both cinephiles. We love to go and see all the new movies, so tomorrow we're seeing the new Superman. We're so excited.
Psyched, yeah.
So, I think that's where a lot of our inspiration draws from, like, and obviously fantasy movies, you know, The Lord of the Rings, you know, obviously Tolkien's, you know, and it's just, I think that's really what's inspired me personally, so I think that's...
Yeah, I mean, absolutely movies. When I was both in high school and beginning my college career, I actually wanted to be a filmmaker. But obviously, as I mentioned earlier, some emotional issues got in the way, and writing took over, because writing is something you can do by yourself in isolation, whereas filmmaking demands a crew and friends. So, you know, movies definitely played a role in inspiration. I think that comics and also Japanese anime, a lot of those sort of over-the-top action-y elements help to inspire things, as well as philosophy. I loved reading books on philosophy as a kid, and a lot of that sort of coalesced into what are good ways to sort of project these deep and profound thought processes, but in exciting manners that people can then absorb more readily.
It's very interesting. Yes, that is interesting. Now, to bring us to the what we're saying about your filmmaking influences and things like this. This book it's in a whole world with centaurs and fays and ogres and elves and also humans, which is interesting. If you were to choose a director to make this a film, who would that be?
Oh my goodness, I'll let you start with that one.
Guillermo del Toro.
Ah, I can see it.
One of my absolute favorite filmmakers.
Del Toro,
A lot of the
Pan's
times,
Labyrinth.
Love Pan's Labyrinth. Yes, exactly. A lot of the times when I'm writing scenes, especially when we were writing scenes like that, there were questions literally where it came up like, how would Guillermo, like what would he do to light this? How would he frame this? What sort of color palettes would he use? And because we love everything he has produced, so definitely Guillermo del Toro, especially for that piece.
Would you say like that's your ideal filmmaker for this, living or dead, or there be someone else? Like
don't put me on that spot.
Hitchcock or Kubrick?
I mean, Kubrick would be amazing, but I don't know if we have a
I don't know if I mean Kubrick. He's so suspenseful. Like
I don't know. I don't know.
There's a lot of emotion in this.
I don't know if The
like,
Winter Sun would be. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I think Guillermo del Toro really is like the gold
Yeah.
tier right there. So
I mean, I grew up watching a lot of Steven Spielberg, but again, it's one of those
Spielberg?
questions
I mean,
like.
he would do. I think he could do.
You know,
it.
Spielberg's good too.
Yeah,
I'm
he's all
rambling.
right.
Don't
He's
get me
okay.
talking about movies. We'll be here forever.
I know, that's the same with me, same with me. Well, and would you, so we say Guillermo del Toro, would you say it would be better, like, if it was a live action than an animation?
Oh, again, animation is completely different than
I
it
never
frees
thought
you
about
up
that.
to
Yeah.
do a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if Guillermo del Toro, like he does do animation, and he's done amazing animations actually.
Yes, but imagine a Miyazaki
yeah,
adaptation.
Miyazaki would be incredible.
Yes, this would be good. This is the fun part about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome, yeah. So, and also, like, what is the process when you guys write together? Is it like, do you write, you're over one typewriter or computer, or like you write a chapter and then you write one, or you write for one character, like Gav the Centaur, or like you write for Gwen the Fae?
So I think really how it starts is we'll just sit down and like maybe have a computer and write just notes. We really work on an outline stage beforehand. So, you know, hours of just talking and just like putting all the ideas together and figuring it out. And I think for Winter Sun, we actually wrote the outline together, like just
Okay.
like, so like you said, us sitting over one computer and really just going like chapter by chapter and debating on like what chapter do I want to write and what chapter. So not really character-wise, because like ours weren't like, it's not a first-person thing, so it was like every chapter could have multiple characters talking or even through their perspectives. So I think really what we ended up doing was like, I want to write this chapter so bad. And then I'd be like, I'm taking it. So, you know, and then at the end we'd finish it, compile it, and read it together and edit it. Both like, so I'd send it to Nate, my chapters, and vice versa. And we'd make sure it was really cohesive. So even though it's co-authored, it really is, it doesn't sound like two different voices really. It's just one cohesive voice that we've made together.
Yes, it does. Even though, like you're saying, some chapters is from like one character's point of view or the other, it does feel like one strong
Exactly.
common author's
Because
voice.
there are definitely some areas of the book where there will be more romance, for example.
Yeah.
And I like to think that I can be romantic, but she
course.
definitely has, I would say, what is considered more of a commercial romantic voice. So usually she'll step in and be like, this is the way we want to pace this. These are the sort of language or the sort of words that we want to use. And then for the more action-y or Typically when things get dark in our books, that's usually where I'm stepping in and injecting my brooding self.
Yeah, okay, I can see. That sounds interesting. That sounds very creative. Yes, well, we'll be right back with Talk of the Tears after the break. Welcome back to Talk of the Tears. I'm Nick Barber, and joining us today are Megan Parker and Nathan Squires, an author team of many fantasy books, including The Winter Sun, which I have read, and I was very captivated by it. And like, I have some questions for you about this. Like, without giving any spoilers, you know, this is a story in a mythical world, I could say, and it's a love story, I would say, between a fae or a fairy and or a kind of fairy-esque character,
Yeah,
and
elf,
it's
fae,
centaur, and they
yeah.
go on a journey, and it's very good. Like, what my question for you is like, is this, because there's so many like different mythical creatures in it, is the world in the Winter Sun, is it another dimension or another planet, or is it history, like prehistory? Because there are humans in this as well. So I thought maybe, is this a time before time, like?
I think in the same way, like, you know, even if you read like The Lord of the Rings, because there's humans in that as well, like you could question, like, is it just, you know, because it's Middle Earth, that's the whole thing. And
Yeah.
so I think in that way we kind of did just create a different universe but still had humans.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if we...
It's like different time, different universe. Yes to all.
Yeah.
I like to think that when in the realm of high fantasy, the best way to approach it is a completely different universe. And I like to think that a lot of high fantasy, because you know, the medieval and dark ages, those time periods sort of have become the framework for high fantasy. Lately, you see more things where you see like modern high fantasy, Bright on Netflix being a good example. So I like to think that, you know, Winter Sun could exist in the same world as theoretically Bright. It's just what happened in their dark ages as opposed to our what they would consider modern day.
I see. And I also see a little bit of like, in this, like, so the humans are not the nicest characters in this. In fact, I would probably say they're the antagonists of
Yes.
it. You know, and they have, you know, they utilize technology.
They do,
Let's say in this. So there's a little bit of like steampunk influence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I like, which is cool because they use iron and technology.
Yeah, they have certainly found a way to let's not call them robots, but there's certainly more technology than the world has seen up until that moment.
Right. Yeah. I found that very interesting, and unfortunately, they're using it for not good.
Right.
You know. Yes. Now, is that is on a deeper level in this book, The Winter Sun? Is there a commentary about? Is it anti-technology? Are you trying or?
I don't necessarily know if we thought anti-technology, more as like how you can see certain types of people using like what they have, resources and everything, towards war and harming others and things like that. So I think that was where the propaganda, I guess, is. It's like where it's like, you have all this amazing stuff that you can learn, magic, technology, all this other stuff, because we really did focus on magical elements creating technology, kind of like a lot of steampunk stuff does. Yeah. And so it was like you have all this stuff, and instead of creating maybe a vast city, which they did have a vast city, but then they used that city towards weaponizing it and creating the Winter Sun, which is that giant weapon that they use.
I mean, I think the underlying narrative, if we're trying to make sort of a subliminal point, because it can be said that the humans were evil, but at the same time, we didn't showcase the humans that were possibly against what was happening.
Yes.
And you would consider that the ones who were saying this is wrong were probably not lasting long enough to come into power or even have a chance to argue the point. But bear in mind that there are other, we show a lot of other species who either try to ignore the problem, who allow the problem to come through. Even the Fae, we wanted to show this element of they think they're above it all, but in that sort of convoluted superiority complex, they cut themselves off from the world. And it could even be argued that cutting themselves off from the world is what instigated the conflict that arose with the humans. So there is this underlying message that there is good in everyone and there is potential evil in everyone. And it's not all humans are bad or all of this species are bad. It's that there is the capacity for evil, and technology, whether it was meant for good or bad to begin with, can always take a very violent course.
Yes, that's very interesting. I got that as well. This is not just the humans are, yes, they're the antagonists, but every character in this is flawed.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Is good, which makes for a great story.
Yeah, we never wanted to spotlight any one group as being like they are the supreme or they are the worst. It's very much a message of you choose to be better or you choose to be worse, and then there are ramifications for those choices.
Okay, so one character I enjoyed and I found most compelling is the character of Blay, who is, which I have never seen. I have seen centaurs and fays and ogres and things like that before.
But never a walking, talking dragon egg.
He's a dragon egg. Blay is a conscious. He only exists to be destroyed, really, which is a very tragic character.
He's having an existential crisis.
That's perfect, yeah.
He's definitely used that one before.
Yeah.
Give me my dad puns.
Yeah. So I found, like, in that character, I want to know, is there more, is there like a pre-story to him, or we're going to see him more? Because I was really drawn to it, because he's wisecracking, too, and like,
He was so fun to write. I think I loved Blay, and the whole time that we wrote him, it was like, I don't want him to hatch. I don't want him to become like what it was. But we do have some ideas in mind for a future story where it's going to include Blay, but maybe maybe he's not all gone. Maybe not. Maybe.
We'll see.
So.
Yeah, we can only hope.
I mean, there's options for a prequel, certainly, and. Trying to think about how to say this without giving anything away.
Yeah.
One way or the other, Blay will live on in people's hearts.
That's good. That's good to know. Yes. Yeah. So, and that's, you got to read The Winter Sun to say, will he hatch? You don't know. You have to read the book. And Talk of the Tears. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Talk of the Tears. I'm Nick Barber, joined now with Megan Parker and Nathan Squires, a couple who is a author team of Winter Sun and many other books in a series of what do you call high fantasy or high...
urban fantasy.
Urban fantasy, high fantasy. I know you dabble in a lot of other genres, romance and stuff. Like, how many books have you written, both together and separate?
Oh my goodness. I think together we've written 5 or 6
Something
now.
like that.
Like we have a lot more planned.
I think I have like 20-something odd plus titles under my
Yeah.
belt.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. When you enjoy it, it's not
Exactly.
work,
Yeah.
you know. Yes, yes. What would you say your favorite book is together that you've written?
Together? Okay. The Winter Sun,
Together, Winter
actually.
Sun,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, I agree.
So-
Yeah, it's my favorite as well. It's
I
the only
think
one I've
that's one of
read.
the first collaborations we ever did where we didn't wind up arguing about something.
Yeah.
Oh, see, yeah. Now, does that happen often when you guys write
the
together?
time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the
You
time.
can't. I mean, you can't be co-authoring something and not arguing with your co-author, and you certainly can't be
Yeah.
married and not argue about everything.
Also, yes. Now, when something like that happens, do you compromise or does one side win? Or like, okay, you're right. I'm going to go with what you say, Nate.
Depends on the situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be a little bit of both. So, because like currently we're starting to plan out a spin-off series that is actually so our main urban fantasy series, which is my Scarlet Knight trilogy, and then he's got his Crimson Shadow series. So our characters. This isn't really a spoiler because we're talking about it anyway. So our characters have children by the end of the book series. And so the spin-off that we're planning currently is actually through the children's perspectives. So really seeing, like, and it's been like 15, 20 years, so it's a little bit in the future. Get to see our characters as parents now.
yeah.
And in fact, he wrote a different series, Angels, which is called Angels Fall First. And that one was one of my characters' older son, you know, so, and then through that we get the younger son's story afterwards.
That's sort of the framing mechanism to show the new world while still spotlighting the people that came before it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this leads me to my other question. Do the characters in all of your novels, or many of them, live in the same universe?
Most of our novels,
do?
actually, they do,
With
except
the
for
exception-
Winter Sun.
With the
Yeah.
exception of Winter Sun and maybe one or two other titles. But yeah, it's kind of like, you actually coined it. You said it's sort of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe
Right.
of urban fantasy, where if you pick up one of our urban fantasy books, there is a good chance you'll see those characters again in one of, if my characters will appear in hers and vice versa. So it is a very unified and conjoined, because like I said, she helped develop the mythology. It's half hers, so she just went off and wrote characters that existed in the same world.
Nice, nice. Now, I've read this, I must say, like, this is, there's no vulgarity and stuff. It's very, I would say, PG. It has adult themes, some violence and things
Yeah.
like that. But what would you say your ideal audience is for your work? Adults, teens?
So for obviously Winter Sun, it was definitely young adult. It was for like even middle school, younger. Like, so we definitely had that more focused. My Scarlet Knight series is adult, so that one is paranormal romance with
Pretty much anything.
spicy reads.
Pretty
kind
much
of thing, yeah.
anything else with our names on it, either of our names on it, probably hard R, if not further.
Okay, well,
Except for our spin-off series, which is actually going to be a young
Yeah,
adult
so look
series
for that
as
in the
well.
future.
Oh,
Yeah.
looking forward to it. So there you have it. If you want some young adult content, or like,
Or something harder.
or something a little harder, check out Megan J. Parker and Nathan Squires and their work, especially The Winter Sun, which you can order at your local bookstore now, and check out all their other work as well. So yes, Nathan, Megan, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thanks
yes.
again.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes, and we'll see you next time on Talk of the Tears.